Hi, today I'm going back to World War III, both to play some and talk about it. I've been away quite some time from the game since the start of Season 1, but since Season 2 is about to start, well, I'm not really sure the exact date, I think it's weeks from now at least, I felt that I wanted to get into this nowadays free-to-play partly Battlefield-like shooter again, and especially since the game is bleeding when it comes to losing players, lack of content and a performance that makes it hard to enjoy the game in the long run, at least for me. I lowered the settings even more when it comes to graphics and everything when playing and recording this time around, but it's obvious that the game still needs work in order to perform even better. But the question is it already too late? Maybe it's better for Farm 51 to start looking into the future and take these experiences as a lesson so the next game they do or make won't suffer in the same way as World War III has. Especially since World War III has a kind of Rocky Mountain journey and history all the way back from its first release in 2018 that I've already talked about before in my videos on my channel, and it has more or less died and then got revived and died again and it got revived again. The question is though, how many times can you do that before it breaks apart completely? Because looking at the player count on Steam, it sure looks as if the game is dying a kind of slow death. There's only a miracle in my book that can save the game now from not meeting the same destiny it got back in 2018, and that is a very, very good Season 2 that not only adds more content into the game to keep up the interest, but also updates and fixes that finally improves the performance in the game, if that's even possible, since it's been suffering from performance issues mostly related to their servers as long as I can remember. If this game would be bad and not worth covering at all, I wouldn't put the time into it, to be honest, but a part of me has really wanted to see the game succeed. But Farm 51 has simply not been able to make the game as good as it needs to be in order to keep the audience that they have or had for that sake, and they have not been able to grow the numbers as much as well when it comes to player count. The game lacks content and a higher standard to make me want to sign in and play the game on a consistent basis. Sure, it's a decent or even a good free-to-play shooter from time to time in certain matches and moments. Season 1 gave us only one map when it comes to tactical ops, and you could say one map also when it comes to team deathmatch. I don't believe that's enough after 4 years plus of waiting for new content to arrive. The situation is also harder or worse now, since free-to-play games such as Warzone 2.0 was released in November last year, and Battlefield 2042 has to a certain degree recovered from its horrible launch, and updates and changes have been made in the game in an attempt to meet the Battlefield community somewhat halfways. With that said, it's therefore even more important that Farm 51 puts all the effort needed into the upcoming Season 2, maybe boosted a bit even more from the initial plans that they've had on the drawing board, both when it comes to content, but also quality of life changes when it comes to the technical and performance aspect of the game. What do you think? Is it too late to turn the downward spiral? Is it even possible for Farm 51 to make the game reach a higher level this late in the development cycle? As said, if I didn't give a shit about the game, I would sit here and talk about it, especially also since I believe that the game fills a kind of a gap genre-wise, being a kind of partly tactical big battle FPS game, but with an arcade style of gameplay elements as well. A pretty nice mix on the paper at least. So who knows, maybe that magic I mentioned earlier can happen after all, although I personally doubt it. Because if the resources or knowledge was there, the game would already play in a very different way compared to what we are experiencing at the moment. I have by now been playing FPS games for plus 20 years, a long time, and even though I'm not a game developer or expert at all, there's definitely one thing, or a few things, but one thing in particular that I've seen over the years that can be the difference between succeeding or failing with the game. Especially if you are a smaller studio or a publisher, and that is a very well-planned roadmap that is quite generous and on the offense of things already from the start when launching the game. Of course, the concept of the game has to be good and fun to play, but very often it seems as if developers forget that time flies even faster in the universe or in the head of a gamer, meaning that a majority of players will be bored just after a couple of weeks after a game is released, or a new season starts for that sake, since they're putting so much time into the game, so that new maps, new weapons, new events, double XP, etc. already has to be in the pipeline at this point. If the player base will have a chance to not only keep up the interest for the guys already playing the game, but also in order to make it worth the effort for new players as well to join in and start playing the game. I mean, have you ever experienced a game that is pushing out too much content all at once? Like, oh my god, not again, a new map. Oh man, we got a new map last week. I can't say that I have. At least I believe that's a better scenario than the opposite around. So feel free to fill in here, of course, your general thoughts about it. Personally, I will press the pause button when it comes to playing World War III for some time again. I will come back most likely when Season 2 arrives, because I'm curious, as said, and I do wish that the game will do better, if that makes sense. And it's important to say that, even though this video has been a bit on the darker side of things, but hey, that's how it is right now. And of course, if you're new to my channel, if you like FPS gaming, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and we talk soon again when it comes to another video. There's a lot of games to play out there. Take care, my friends, and thanks a lot for watching. Later.
There's still some time! Fight!
Man down! More! Give me more! I'm hit!
Out of here!
Fucking die!
Разъебёмы!
1, 2, 5! Here, lads.
Открыть огонь!
Fire! Oi, Muppet! We're with you!
Гранят!